If going to work now is staring at a screen full of people's faces all day, how are we going to make the things that we say stand out so that our audiences remember them and want to act on them in the future? Hello, my name's Steve Cross. This video is part of a series for the University of Cambridge on how to improve your online presentation skills. If you are watching this video, I suggest you go back to video 1 in the series so that you can understand how all the different aspects of presentation fit together. Today we are talking about scripting. So how can we make scripts for online presentations useful for our audiences and things that people are willing to digest online? As with all videos in this series, this is shot in one take with no edits. This is an online presentation. There will therefore be mistakes throughout. Today we're going to look at two aspects of scripting. We're going to look at structuring your scripts and we're going to look at tailoring your scripts. So what things need to go in what order for a successful online presentation and what kinds of things to include and not include depending on who you're talking to. One thing we know is that attention spans for online presentations are much shorter than they are for presentations that you might go to and attend. People are willing to listen for less long and they tend to be listening less closely. The temptation of all the other things on their screen or their phone is very real. Because of this, we need to structure talks better than we ever have in real life. And to give you an example of how I'd like you to structure your online presentations, I'm going to give you an example of how to do it exactly wrong. And I'm going to talk to you about my least favourite teacher. I used to have a teacher who could talk for 70 minutes non-stop. And somewhere in those 70 minutes would be the things that you needed to know about Shakespeare, would be the things that you needed to know about how to analyse literature, and the things you needed to know about history. But also in that 70 minutes would be talking about his girlfriend, talking about the businesses he used to run, talking about what things he was going to do at the weekend. And it was our job as the audience, as in this case the pupils, to listen and fill it out the useful bits. Now, we were forced to be there, we were forced to listen, we had an exam at the end of it, we were definitely going to listen, no matter how badly structured the talk. This is not true for anything you do as an online presentation. Most people don't have to be there, they don't have to listen, so you're going to have to give them the information in the most digestible way possible. And that means having a structure. That means having an idea of what you're going to talk about when and telling your audience what that structure would be. I told you we're going to talk about structuring and then tailoring. If you're not that interested in structuring, you can jump forward to the tailoring part. So structuring your talk is a lot for an online presentation about putting the important stuff up front, not expecting your viewer to get through 5 minutes or 8 minutes of story and argument to get to the thing that they need to know. If you think about the great communicators of information in short bursts, if you think of the news on TV, the headlines come at the top of the show to grab you and tell you what the show is going to be about. If you think about newspapers, they have big headlines to tell you what the story is. You can scan the headlines and get an idea of the key stuff you need to know. If you read the first paragraph after each headline, you'll know quite a lot. And then if you really want to get into a story, that comes later. And that's a structure you should think about, not please sit through my entire online presentation in the hope that you get to the bit that's actually relevant to you. The other thing that I'd like you to do is remind people of your main points at the end of your online presentations, rather than relying on the fact that they were listening to every single moment and that they've put things into the same order and framework that you have. If you can sum up everything you've said, then all of the other things they've been thinking about while you're talking go away and are replaced by the framework that you want your ideas to be in. So always say your structure at the start, use your structure through the talk, and repeat your structure at the end. The other aspect of having an appropriate script for an online presentation is tailoring. And part of tailoring is knowing what your audience is interested in. There's no point talking to the people who run the financial side of your organisation about anything other than money. Show them how the things that you're interested in or the work that you're doing impacts the bottom end. Similarly, if you're talking to a younger audience, there's no point talking to them about how to structure mortgage payments, for instance. This isn't a thing that's part of their life. They just don't care. Try and tailor the work that you're putting forward to the interests of the people that you're talking to. If you don't know the interests of the people that you're talking to, you can start by asking them. One of the nice things about an online presentation is you can use questions and answers and chat threads. You could even watch other people's presentations, see what this group is reacting to and talking about. The other thing to think about with tailoring your presentations is the existing knowledge your audience already has. I see a lot of online presentations that are pitched completely wrong in terms of knowledge level. If the first 5 things I say are things that you already know, you will automatically turn off. Either you'll physically turn off what I'm talking about, or you'll mentally turn off, think about something else, go and check your emails while I'm talking. Because of this, I have to put the new things up front, and I have to have an idea of what you already know. Similarly, if I'm trying to relate the things that I'm talking about to things that you know about already, I need to know what those things are. I've seen examples of researchers talking to groups of 16-year-olds about 80s heavy metal, and groups of 16-year-olds have no idea about why it matters that your research relates to 80s heavy metal, because they've no idea what 80s heavy metal is on the whole. You'll find 2 that do. In this case, there was 6 out of 800 that did. So, to sum up, these are the things that I want you to do with your script when you're making an online presentation. Number 1, structure it. Number 2, tailor it. And the thing that flows from both of these is number 3, actually have it written down beforehand. Have an idea of what you're saying when. Plan. Don't do the thing where you just blurb for all the minutes you've got available and hope that you said something interesting. The secret to a good online presentation is for you to do a lot of work to prepare beforehand so that your audience don't have to do a lot of work afterwards, working out why what you said was important and which bits you actually wanted them to remember. Do join us for the rest of this video series, and we'll look at other aspects of making your online presentations wonderful.